school is more than just, math and science and English and history. It's people and relationships, and those are important. And we want to get back to fostering those important relationships. Back before this new law came in, when we did that survey, there were really only, I think, like 2 kids from Homestead, but it seemed like there were about 25 across the district. So it was a really low number. I haven't seen the specific number, so I can't speak to that. I've just heard through the people who were looking at this that there may be a few more kids that have popped on, but I'm not seeing a huge number of kids that are interested in doing it just yet. They're going to be able to get their high school diploma. They're going to be able to meet the requirements to move forward. It's not going to hurt them in the regards of, like, you won't be able to graduate from high school. It may affect, though, what they're actually, what they're taking. And so if they aren't taking some of these other electives that maybe some UCs or private colleges are asking for, it might, again, it's going to be a decision you're going to have to make of, like, is that worth it to stay home? And for some people, it might be a medical thing and they need to stay home. And so it's worth it. But for others, it might be like, no, I'm just sort of, because the law was sort of written like, you don't have to have a specific reason. You can do it for any reason. So I would think a kid like me, when I was in high school, I had to be around people. I was in sports, I was in student government. I would have gone crazy on independent study. And so I would have lost things. So I think you have to kind of weigh it that way, of like a pros and cons of what's the cost benefit analysis of looking at this, right? So for some people, it's going to be great. For others, it's going to not be worth it. If you're going to go to this remote learning, you're not going to be able to participate like in Homestead sports or programs or that kind of thing. So, like right there, that's already a difference. And while that, to some people, that may not be important, those things are very important to some students. They're very important to our school. They're very important to just the whole high school experience, right? So it, like right there, you're already seeing some differences. So right now, again, we have masks indoors, but voluntary for outdoors. We're encouraging people to continue to do hand washing and hand sanitation. We're going, the social distancing is not necessary in a classroom, but again, it's a best practice. If we can keep people distance, if outside, if you can stay distance, those are great. Right now, though, we're moving forward with field trips and with events, and we're bringing staff back in a week, and we're planning on having the entire staff sitting in the cafeteria doing professional development. So they're going to be wearing masks. We're going to try and distance them as best we can, probably have the doors open like we do for lunch, but those kinds of things we'll kind of have to consider. One of the things that's concerning us is the rising number of cases that are happening. That Delta variant is coming, it's pretty strong. It's proving to be very contagious. It's proven that, people who are vaccinated, they can transmit it as at the same level that a non-vaccinated person can. So those are concerns. But that's a real question mark in all of our minds, is what restrictions are going to come, if any, that are going to be stricter because of the Delta variant. Once we get a notification of a positive case, we then have to notify those folks who might be close contacts. So there may or may not be a reason to quarantine depending on your exposure to them. So if in this case, if you're vaccinated and you're not, one of you may have to quarantine, the other may not have to, right? So there's different levels. It also might depend on what was the contact. Did you just pass through by them in the hallway, or were you sitting in class next to them for 90 minutes? So we'll still have those protocols. You'll get notified if you're a close contact immediately. Then we usually go and send out information like, okay, there was a student or there was a staff member that was tested positive. I don't know that we're required to tell everybody as soon as somebody gets notified. But I think we're going to do our best to really give you information, because I think that's going to be important for you and your families to make decisions. I'm unclear on when exactly we have to notify the entire school versus those who have to know. There are protocols that start happening once you start getting massive outbreaks. There are some folks who might have some medical reasons or whatever. Those are pretty rare, to be quite honest. So if there is, we probably are going to know about that. But And so we'll have already tried to deal with it in a way that, makes it comfortable for the kid and for the other kids, right? But let's just say it's a knucklehead, right? And they're like, I'm not going to put my mask on. You can't tell me what to do. Well, we can. We're going to give you every chance. We want you to be in class. We do not want you to be out of class. And remotely, we can't do that now. So sending you home means you're missing class. So I'm hoping that we can have an adult conversation and figure out what's going on and what will make that kid comfortable. We have plenty of masks. So we have face masks, we have face shields, we have all kinds of fun stuff. So we'll be happy to give you something that will work. One of the biggest fears was that kids wouldn't follow these mask mandates. But when we did hybrid, they were great. Informed decisions are the best. So come talk to our counselors, come talk to our assistant principals or me or somebody and kind of figure out what the deal is. And we'll be happy to help you, problem solve or work through some of those and get you to where you will best be served and educated. And again, while we want everybody on campus, we know that not everybody wants to be on campus and does well on our campus, right? So maybe there's some alternatives that would work, but I hope people aren't just making the choice to be like, oh, cool, I just get to stay home in pajamas. And, that might not be the best reason. And I think we all learned that coming to school, while a drag and a chore at times, is really an amazing adventure in our life, and that we get to see people, and we're going to have a generation of kids that will appreciate school in a way that no other group has. Yeah, school really isn't a prison. Being at home in your room, not being able to go out to go to movies and see friends, that's prison.